Edwin Diaz, who said it's 50-50 on his return to the Mets, which is probably the biggest change in tone, I think, so far, Joe. With Diaz, it always felt like, and I'm not saying he doesn't want to be back because he clearly does, but you would think by now Diaz has had some kind of conversation and maybe he's gotten an indication that it is going to be a little more difficult. To be fair to the Mets, maybe the Mets were on the side of this, unlike last time, where last time they said, here, Edwin Diaz, this is the biggest reliever contract. We want you here. Easy to get done. Sign it. This time, maybe it's going to be more of a go see what you can get. And we're going to be here at the end of the day. I hope this is the Mets thinking. We're going to be here at the end of the day to match any offer you get, which is a little bit more hardball than we're used to the Mets seeing play with Edwin Diaz. But 50-50, Joe, this one with me, like I've been pretty pessimistic on the return of Pete Alonso, although Josh Naylor coming off the board does change things a little because I don't know what the solution is going to be, but I'm still pessimistic on the return of Pete Alonso. I can't sell losing Edwin Diaz. I don't know what the plan would be. I'm not convinced there is a better plan than Edwin Diaz closing games. I don't even think there's a plan that comes close to matching him closing games. And this one is simply about the money. With Pete Alonso, there's arguments about the term. There's arguments about his inability to defend. There's arguments about how his bat will age. Whether you agree or not, those arguments exist. With Edwin Diaz here, Joe, this is one that the Mets better be really, really careful here because I think there's a lot of contenders that will value him very highly.
I love the 50-50 thing because, one, it's free agency, duh. But also, you're like an odds guy. If you say there's 30 options for a guy and one team has a 50-50 shot, that's pretty good odds, I would say, that Edwin Diaz is going to be back with the Mets.
Yeah, a pick 'em for the Mets is not the worst odds, yes.
That's how I'm trying to interpret this, but really, I think what it comes down to, and Diaz expanded beyond this and talk about how he has to do what's best for his family, which, translation, who gives me the most money is who I'm probably going to sign with. And every single free agent has the right to do it. And this is Edwin's last bite at the apple for a long-term deal. Doesn't mean if he signs a 4 or 5 year deal, his major league career is over after it. But at that point, he's in his mid-late 30s. He's going to be signing a 1 year deal or maybe a 2 year deal. So he has every right to go ahead and try it. But I am with you 1,000%. I really want Pete Alonso back, but the Mets absolutely have to have Edwin Diaz back. And if that means you're going longer than you're comfortable, that is what you're going to have to do. And David Stearns, you mentioned kind of like the maybe more hard line in negotiating. Like Billy Epler was probably just like, okay, Edwin Diaz, this is great. Here's 5 year deal. Let's move forward. But Stearns is very knowledgeable of what the market looks like. And yeah, go ahead. And if you get a 5 year deal from somebody, come back and maybe the Mets will match it. Or maybe he'll go out there and see he has a qualifying offer. He wants to be record money as a reliever. How many teams are really going to jump at that? And I still think Diaz would like to be back. I think the Mets would like to have Diaz back. And I don't think that is just GM speak. I think they really do want him back. And from my seat, for whatever that's worth, they dang sure better get it done.
Right. I think it's interesting, Joe, with Stearns. And I think there's not a lot of nuanced conversations around Stearns anymore. There's just part of the fan base that is furious from last year and thinks he won't spend on any players. And then there's, the other part of the fan base that, and full transparency, I think we align with this, that believe in his long-term outlook. But we do call it like we see it. I think there's times where you're doing what's pragmatic and you're doing what's smart for the goal of long-term sustainable success. Long-term sustainable success in baseball is achieved by drafting and international free agency vacuumed up into player development. I mean, I know that's the most simple way you could say that, but you do this as much as anybody in the industry in terms of coverage of draft, free international free agency and player development. Like, that's really the pillars of what it comes down to. But there are certain organizations, and this is going to make for a very interesting CBA situation a year from now that I can't wait. And by can't wait, I mean it's going to be exhausting to talk about and cover. Yeah. So it's nice we don't have to right now. there are cheaper routes, like there's better routes, easier routes, right? And for David Stearns works for one of the organization where money doesn't really matter. So you can patch your holes with money. And one of the holes, as Edwin Diaz is not on the Mets today, he's not. The Mets don't have a closer today. Patching one of those holes would be that exact situation where just use the money, right? Like that's what it's there for. So I do think there's a fine line of times where, like, not going out and giving 8 years to Corbin Burns or Max Fried. Yeah, there's a real healthy argument not to do that, in our opinion. And we've already seen some of the dividends pay out from that. And we've also seen the other side of it. But retaining your closer that at his best is the best in baseball, you just kind of want to like kind of nudge David Stearns and be like, use the cheat code. Like, you have the cheat code that a lot of other executives wish they had. Am I crazy?
Hit up, down, triangle, circle,
Bingo.
square, and bang. We're back where we belong.
There.
Yeah. What the Mets need to do, and I'm not saying they've done a poor job of this, because obviously they haven't. They have Francisco Lindor. They have Juan Soto. Like, they have star players. But that money cheat code that you're kind of talking about, it should be to keep the best players when you have the ability to, or add the best players to the roster that you can. And there is nobody, in my opinion, better than Edwin Diaz. The difference here is you just want to be careful what you're spending on, overspending on the middle of the market. You don't want to be caught too much in doing that, but sign the best, trade for the best, get the best, and then you supplement it, as you said, with the farm system, with the player development and drafting and everything that goes into that. That is how you're going to build a team that is not just a playoff contender year after year, which would be a step up for Mets fans, at least for us, but a potential World Series contender.